we go. We're live now.
There's like battling golden doodles back there. Welcome to
war
my
on
house. Welcome to my. Yeah, I mean, and so
doodles.
Ruckus was like, "Bro, you can eat carbs," and Kizzy's like, "Fuck you, man. Carbs are poisonous."
Fuck you and your carbs.
And look what happened, man. There's just dueling doodles back there, man. Crazy, crazy. That's how the internet is. It's the war on carbs. Anyway, carbohydrates, ketogenic diets, carnivore, you can name it whatever you want. We could just blanket this as any exclusionary diet. I think we can all, whether you're eliminating, anytime you eliminate an entire macronutrient, an entire food group, I believe it makes it where even if that diet is superior, which science has undeniably, in my opinion, you can never say science is conclusive.
Yes,
Science has strongly indicated that they're not just not superior, they're actually inferior to a nice balanced mixed diet, I like to call it, where you have your adequate protein, adequate fat, and fill in the rest with some yummy carbohydrate. Yeah, I mean, so not only is it not superior, it's actually inferior, yet let's go into keto because that's the one that comes to mind. And why keto, let's assume it's the greatest diet ever, why it is an inevitable failure. And with me, I have the lovely Kate.
What's up, guys?
MTS Nutrition. Where can they find you, Kate? She's also an online coach.
I am. I'm a coach. I work with lifestyle clients as well as physique athletes. And you can find me at Kate and Michelle on Instagram as well as YouTube.
There you go. So hit her up on the gram. Don't send her any weird DMs. Nope. She doesn't open pictures.
No. Or videos.
Yeah, we already tried. So you got videos? Oh, I've gotten videos.
You don't want to know about
I've gotten weird videos, like weird stuff I didn't even know happens in this world videos.
I just want to know what's wrong with you people who send those things.
I don't know. I can't speak for them, but the reason I send it is self-esteem. So keto. Now, if you guys haven't seen Kate or if you don't know about her before, she's in academia. She's working on her master's degree in this field. Mm-hmm. And she also at the time works with many clients, is, very well versed in nutrition and training and all that good stuff. And, you guys know my opinion on things. I'm a very, I try all the shit. I've tried all the keto. I've tried the carnivore. I've gone vegan, which I didn't like any of them. And I just come back to, I like toast and I really like ribs. So none of those work for me because I can't combine the two on either of those diets. And my thing is, that's the point of this video. The number one thing you need to look at when starting a diet is adherence. And Kate, why don't you fill us in on your opinion on the keto diet and adherence and all that good stuff?
So we see the media and we see what's sexy, right? Keto, you can lose all this weight in 1 week. Number one, the reason that you're losing weight on keto initially is because you're depleting all your glycogen stores, right? Glycogen pulls water into the muscle. That's what happens. So when you take glycogen out of your diet, what you're doing is you're flushing out that water and the glycogen that gets pulled into the muscle with it. That's why we see lots of results in the first 2 weeks of keto.
And if you muscularly look flat, I look terrible when I start keto. I have to increase my sodium by a huge amount just to not look obviously I have mental disorders, but I look fucking terrible when I'm on keto.
Yeah, and it makes you look soft. Another big issue is electrolyte supplementation on people that do keto or carnivore diets, right? They flush their electrolytes right out of their system, so they not only look like shit, you feel like shit. Your mental capacity is not there. You feel cloudy and foggy, and you don't understand why. But
the keto flu.
Right, and it's because you don't have those in your diet anymore. You've completely removed them. Mm-hmm. So that's why you see those results with keto, but every time, most people that I'll say 99.9% of people that I've worked with who wanted to try keto, I tell them, number one, you're not being realistic with yourself, right? Even people I see at the gym, I work at Powerhouse Gym, and they all try the keto diet, and they're like, yeah, well, I fell off because, I had some ice cream or whatever, but, I'll get back on it next week. And then they never get back on it. And the realistic issue with that is because it doesn't fit their lifestyle. They're removing foods that they enjoy to try to lose weight, and then they gain it back and then overshoot. And body fat overshooting is a real thing. So when you're setting yourself up not only to gain it back, but then your metabolic set point is now lower. You can only tolerate so many more calories because you've been dieting, and you have extra body fat that you didn't have before. when you could have just had a sit-down conversation with yourself and been like, okay, this is what I'm willing to do, right? I can do energy restriction. I can do that as long as I can work in the foods that I still enjoy in a macro distribution that works for me and my goals, get results, have higher calorie days, do diet breaks, which we've talked about, or refeed strategies or whatever they are, and not only lose the weight that you want to lose, sustain that fat loss. Like, that is the issue. And that's why these diets are trendy and they seem enticing, because you see all these people, the poster child of the fitness industry, right, getting these awesome results, but they're not realistic to you, and you are an individual who should be looked at as an individual. Everything should be individualized, whether it's your training, nutrition, all of your programming. It has to be suitable for you in your life and the way that you live. And that's different from Kim Kardashian, or whoever the fuck else, you might see as an influencer on Instagram or other social media accounts.
You see, the thing with keto is I always have people come up to me like, hey, I gained all this weight and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Well, what are you going to do to get it off? No, I'm going to do keto because I did it before and I lost like 30 pounds. You gained 40. Mm-hmm. So here's the problem. When you lose the weight with an unrealistic thing, with something that you cannot adhere to, when you come off of that diet, you're going to gain all that shit back. There is some data to back up keto, and there's also plenty of data to say that it's not any better than any other diet plan. Right. You're seeing a lot of sensationalism. You're seeing a lot of people like Dr. Gary Taubes, who, if you saw the debate with Joe Rogan and Taubes, on Joe Rogan with Alan Aragon and Taubes, Alan Aragon completely wiped the floor with him. Because Alan was speaking on facts and Gary just went off emotionally. It was a horrible, horrible display. And I actually think Taubes is a smart guy. I just think he misinterprets the data. Mm-hmm. And I think they're oversimplifying things. I think they're oversimplifying the insulin, and they're oversimplifying glucagon and insulin. What I'm going into is, when you overeat, let's say protein, there's a counter hormone it's called glucagon, right? And it kind of counters insulin. And I think that we've also shown, and you have to look at other studies outside of the direct keto studies, we have a diabetic drug, and I forget the name, that actually increases insulin. Not only does it increase insulin, it also has demonstrated phenomenal fat loss effects in diabetics, showing that insulin does not prevent fat loss, at least in those individuals. Right. That's the only data we have. So, and also just look from an empirical standpoint. If you're looking at who gets the most shred, if you're looking online, if you're looking at, throughout, like you have in the natural, you have Kurt Widener, Alberto Nunez. In the not so natural, you got every Olympia competitor. You got me. None of us are keto. The most shredded motherfuckers are spiking their insulin. I spike the shit out of my insulin. I do take our GDA, glucose disposal nutrient driver, but it's still not doing. It has anti-diabetic effects, has blood sugar effects, but I'm still getting carbohydrate in my diet. Right. The most shredded guys I've seen, the most muscular shredded individuals from an empirical standpoint, drugs and no drugs, I'm not claiming natty, they eat carbs.
Yes, they do.
Okay? And the keto guys, all right, you'll be like, well, we got Dr. Sean Baker, amazing looking man at 50 years old, not Alberto Nunez. Well, Marc Bell, amazing looking dude, not Alberto Nunez, not Kurt Widener, not Phil Heath. So for every keto, and I'm going empirical, and I'm sorry if I'm calling people out by names, I'm also complimenting them. They are the poster boys of keto.
Right, and you have to take this into context as well.
Yes.
Right? The people that we're mentioning are older men, right? So keto's been supported in elderly populations.
What are you trying to fucking say?
You're not keto.
I'm not older.
He's only 38. Dr. Sean Baker's older.
Yeah, he's much older.
Right, but he established his muscle bellies and muscular density at a younger age where he was probably fueling on carbohydrates.
You're right.
Right, so how was that muscle built? How was it sustained? Mm-hmm. Now that he's older, again, we've shown with research studies, when you take into context the subject pool and the criteria of that population, where they're finding results for longevity and health as far as neurological sustenance, that's when it's applicable. So that's where keto would be something that I would suggest for someone in an elderly person, or in a population where neurological disorders are prevalent. That's where the research is supported.
Like vegans.
I
just heard neurological disorders. I'm sorry.
If you're an athlete and you're trying to build muscle, sustain power output, whether it's, you're a fitness person, you're a power something athlete, Or you're an athlete. Like, I played Division I basketball. If you understand physiology, and I'm not going to get super nerdy here, but your first line of generating energy is through fueling of carbohydrate systems. You have an ATP PCR system, and then you have your glycolytic system through glycolysis. That's how you're generating energy, not only to build muscle, but to generate power output, to perform. Your brain runs on glucose. So removing that from your diet is not going to promote any of those things that we train for. Like, that's what you're training for. If you are an athlete, you're training to perform. If you're removing that fuel in order for you to perform optimally, you're setting yourself up for failure. Not only are you going to feel like shit, you're going to look like shit, and your performance is going to decline.
You know what Kate said the other day? You know what raises insulin? Exercise!
It does.
It raises
if you get
insulin.
up and move, insulin starts to secrete through your body. It's a storage hormone.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Let me put this into simple time. I like to keep shit simple, okay? No, I mean, just for me, not for you. You're smart. These people are smart. This is for me. And I also explain this when I talk to my youth athletes, because youth athletes generally don't have an advanced degree because they're like 14. Okay, so when I'm explaining this to my daughter, okay, and I curse, so you'll be like, okay, so your body has, let's say you have carbohydrate in your system. I was like, fuck yeah, got glucose, things are going, take it away. He's like, shit. I ain't got no glucose. Well, fuck it, man. I get this protein here. I got this thing called gluconeogenesis that nature built into my body. Right. It's fucking great. I could take amino acids and I convert them. Fuck it, man. I got carbs. It's inefficient as fuck, but your body can find that carbohydrate. It derives carbohydrate. So hold on. So you take away protein and carbs. Your body's like, holy shit! Ah! I have no carbs or protein. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this fat, right? I'm going to take all this fucking fat, all this bacon, and hey, Ruckus, this is my dog Ruckus, and I'm going to take all this bacon. Let's say we cook Ruckus up and eat his fatty meat. He's like, bacon! And let's say your body's like, fuck, I'm going to do this. I got ribs in my system, man. I'm going to take this fat. I'm going to take these lipids. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to convert it to something called ketones. And these ketones, inefficient, it's going to provide some fucking amazing brain fuel, and it's going to do just a good enough job to provide some fuel for my body. However, if let's say, oh my God, there's a woolly mammoth over there. I got them all the time in Illinois. They're right over there, like right across the street. And he's right by the Meijer and on Randall Road. So anyway, check out the fucking woolly mammoth's there. I got to run. I'm chasing the mammoth. Chase him. Fuck, I just ran out of all my shit. That's how your system works. So it does a great job in accounting for like survival, and also, well, the Inuits, they fucking lived on fish. They lived on fatty fish. Well, guess what? The Inuits weren't doing. They weren't winning Olympic gold medals. Right. They weren't lifting heavy ass weights, trying to drop body fat while still bench pressing 700 pounds. The Inuits were concerned with one thing: providing sustenance so they don't fucking freeze to death. That's how I simplify things. Thank you. Okay.
Right, so your body works in different operations, right? It has a system in place. When we're doing high intensity exercise, your body's fueling through carbohydrates, right? If we do low intensity, if you're a marathon runner or something like that, you might be able to burn fat depending on the intensity and duration of that exercise. And your body goes through these different fuel systems. So we're not saying you never burn fat. We know we burn through fat, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you don't have to only intake fat to burn fat. Like the keto argument that's like, oh, you're oxidizing more fat.
Fat burns fat.
You're eating fat. Of course you're burning more fat. You're eating fat.
But that doesn't mean you're burning more calories.
Yes. So when calories are equated, the research does not support that eating a ketogenic diet leads to superior fat loss.
It's fat
you're
burning fat.
You're oxidizing more fat because you're eating more fat.
But it's coconut oil and the C8, 12, and 10 MCTs. And so here's the deal. You might be like, well, Mark, you like exogenous ketones. I have an enriched AM, and I'm going to explain that right now because I know this is going to come up in the comments. Here's why. I don't really, now if you're keto, I'm not going to support, I'm not going to say don't do it. It will help you achieve ketosis, give you a bit more energy, but I don't think the use for exogenous ketones, again, the research is still, it's new. This is my hypothesis. Like the support for exogenous ketones, in my opinion, I think it's best for people who want an additional energy source in addition to the glucose. And again, the research is still young. For me personally, and for other people anecdotally, taking in exogenous ketones, there has been data. I think Dom did the data over in Florida on exogenous ketones having those effect on non-ketogenic people. So imagine if you're getting the benefits of ketosis without having to deprive yourself of glucose. I look at it as two energy systems. Again, it's too young in its infancy for me to really go all in on. But I think that's where I go with my thought process. And sometimes when you're formulating stuff, you're trying to improve performance, it's outside the box, right?
Right, and neither of it's wrong. And it's not that it's one or the other. It's context dependent,
Bingo.
like I was talking about, right? High intensity energy output, you're using carbohydrate. Your body wants to use that. It's faster production. It takes less time to do it. It's less enzymes, blah, 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 right? Fat beta oxidation, that takes much longer. And so the amount of energy, yes, 9 calories per gram of fat, yes, you get more energy that way, but it takes much longer to process that energy and disperse it than it does a carbohydrate.
Cammie, come here.
What?
Here, stand right here in the middle. We're going to talk to you. So Cammie her goal is to play in the Olympics, right?
Yes.
So Cammie is obviously, now let's say Kate, now you're coaching Cammie, right? She's your athlete. She's on a diet. Now, for me, you want a good amount of fat. Fat does provide an energy source. It's a very good source. But for an athlete like her, our main goal is to keep her fueled. Because now let's say in her sport, imagine now, I did see someone wrote a paper and gave a presentation. I thought it was completely absurd about soccer players being on literally ketogenic diets. It was absurd. It was absurd. It was sent to me by the guy from Athletico. I shouldn't be surprised. And anyway, so Cammie literally will run 7 miles a game. Because she plays forward, so she's going on runs. 60, 70-yard runs at a time. Okay? Now, her energy system's used. Yeah, obviously when she's at rest, it's going to be non-glucose a lot of the time. But when she makes a run, her body automatically shifts. And it's burning the shit out of glucose. So if she makes 15 runs a game, imagine the amount of carbohydrates she's burning. And that's also why, and this is so off tangent, that's also why, we're good, Cammie, we just wanted everybody to say hi.
Okay, bye.
She's going to go watch the World Cup. And that's also why, like, you look at context. Now, I'm going way off base here. Post-workout nutrition. For bodybuilders, we don't burn much. Like, dude, we trained legs the other day. We fucking killed it. We might have burned 50 grams of carbs.
Yeah, I'm super sore about
Cammie, during a game, probably burns 1,000 grams of carbs.
Absolutely.
All right? It's a different context. So would I recommend carbohydrate for bodybuilders who are just sitting down between sets? Probably not. For a forward, playing on a full 100-something yard soccer field, making 60, 70-yard runs.
And these are sprints. These are all-out energy.
Trying to beat out a defender and a midfielder.
Yes. Endurance sustained, like during any sporting event, like yes, 100% you want to replenish carbs. I remember I played Division I basketball in college, and halftime was all about replenish, because you have another second half to play in the same context, even on a bigger playing
So they were
field
eating
with
tablespoons
soccer.
of butter to stay
Naturally.
ketogenic. Kate even laughed at that one. So my whole thing is, so how does this translate to the office worker? Well, I will agree that the office worker, the standard 9 to 5 soccer dad, I stand along on the sidelines with every weekend, who isn't boxing like me, who isn't training like me, who doesn't carry around all this unnecessary lean mass like me. You know what? Do they need as much carbohydrate as I do? Absolutely not. However, that standard office worker is going to lunch every day at El Torito and wants to eat some fucking chips. And so the main thing with that office worker, or even most people out there, you guys do not compete. Most of you watching this do not compete. You know who you are. If you do compete, I'm probably not hardcore enough for you anymore. Okay? If you want hardcore, go to her other video channel. Yeah, that's on a different site. It has you in it. But no, but that's the thing, is that if you don't compete, your main goal is to find a way to make better choices and to lower your caloric intake. And to make, to gradually do that, and not give up the things you love. But
And
if you
understand what a healthy serving size looks like. What does a portion actually look like? Again, I just think that a lot of people don't understand what that looks like, and you can only learn that not through a given meal plan, not through someone telling you what to eat meal 1 through 5, right? You need to work in foods that you like, that you're consistently going to be eating, and make your own plates, weigh it out, and be like, oh, that's what 5 ounces of sweet potato actually looks like. Whereas when you're just going out to eat, or you're ordering things, like you just kind of eat and your eyes are bigger than your stomach, and you don't understand, what it is that you're taking in, so that when you go off of the diet, you now have this newly learned knowledge of what nutrition looks like.
You know what, Kate? I want to bring something up I just noticed the other day, because I was Katie was getting something to eat, and I saw she opened the fridge, and one of my Midwest meals was in there. Some of my meal prep stuff, right? And I probably have stayed lean because I'm a cereal, because I don't measure my food anymore. I'm past that stage of my life. I'm a cereal underweigher. Not cereal, but cereal. S-E-R-I-A-L.
Cereal's delicious.
Cereal is fucking delicious. Like waffle crisp. I heard we have a protein coming out with a flavor similar to that. But anyway, so it's going to be so good. So anyway, so check it out. I took the flank steak I get. It's called the Lobliner. It's my favorite meal. It's flank steak, sweet potato fries, and broccoli. I dumped it on a plate, and it was only 6 ounces of flank steak. It was like double what I fucking eat in real life. Like when I'm measuring my own food, so I naturally underestimate. Maybe it's appetite controlled. I don't eat as much as I used to when I competed because I'm not trying to get huge and I'm not on these cycles and this and that. Like I'm just a dad, right? I'm not bulking. Like for me, my idea of bulking is us going to sushi the other night and not really caring about sauces, But for me, that's where I'm at in life. So I think that being able to identify where your calorie... What the hell are you digging in the couch for, bro?
No.
He's trying to find the cereal, the honeycomb.
He's like, I heard there was cereal around here. You're going to have to buy a new couch now. So the thing is, like, you have to be able to identify food servings and know that when you go to eat something, like, you're usually getting much more. Like if you ever go to a restaurant and you look at the servings, you compare that to what you eat at home. It's a lot of food, and a lot of you guys are stopping and getting food on the way home. You're getting a lot of takeout. And millennials especially, I saw data on millennials. You guys eat out a lot, dude, like crazy amount. Like we don't. I know you don't as much, but our family tends to cook in more than we don't. So the thing is, like, when you're going out to eat, you might be getting, and I like these people, these Fitspos who go to Chipotle all the time. They're like, oh man, it fits my macros. Really? I remember reading a study. It's about 60% off, usually in favor of more calories than what's stated on the menu. So that shit's not worth anything. So unless you prepare your own food and you measure it out, they're arguing about carbs again. Unless you, that was how I started the video. Unless you measure it out, you really don't know how much you're eating. So don't trust the restaurants. Don't trust them. They're liars.
That and food labels, and the thing is, when you go out and grab something, people don't pay attention to the number of servings in a given container, right? You think, okay, I bought this thing.
Lenny and Larry's cookies,
I get
there's
the
2.
whole thing, right? And it says 200 calories, but there's 4 servings in that one 200 calorie thing. So when you think you've just consumed 200, you've now consumed 800 calories.
Bro, Lenny and Larry's cookies, which by the way, do not even taste close to as good as an outright bar. And I heard they just settled for $5 million in a mislabeling lawsuit, but that's just public record. But anyway, check it out. Okay, you get a cookie. Like when you pick up an outright bar, you're getting 270 to 280 calories, right? First time I ate one of those, I'm like, man, that was a filling fucking cookie. I looked at the back and I'm like, only 280 calories, 2 servings per container. Who the fuck cuts a cookie in half?
Thank you.
Look at that shit.
And a lot of labels are misleading in that way, right? They want you to think that you're making a healthier choice, but they don't disclose, only in the back in the small print, which people don't know how to read nutrition labels. We could do that another time, but you're not looking at the fine print. You're just eating intuitively or on the go. And there are bigger things in life than nutrition, right? And a lot of people eat out of convenience. I'm on the go, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I get it. But unfortunately, if you don't teach yourself eating habits, if you don't learn what a portion size looks like, you're forever going to struggle with this. I need to lose weight and I don't know how, and you're ripping your hair off and you're ordering Shakeology and all these stupid, dumb fucking things. When at the end of the day, if you would just take the time to learn what it actually looks like, to make your meals at home, to take the extra 10 minutes to weigh out your food and look at it and be like, wow, this is what I should be eating, you'll learn these things. That's how you generate sustained fat loss, sustained goals. Like you can accomplish those things, but you have to be willing to learn. You have to be out there in a place where you are doing the work, not just in the gym, not just sleep and recovery, not just foam rolling and stretching or going through your workout plan, right? But you actually understand the nutritional side of how you're fueling your body and what you're fueling it with.
I'm going to go find Lenny and Larry and beat the fuck out of them. So here's the thing. And also, I'm going to just throw this in there. I'm not advocating meal prep because it's really expensive. Okay? However, I use a meal prep service because I travel a lot.
Right.
And because they carry our protein, and I support the hell out of them.
Right.
It's Midwest Meals. And one thing, I'm not saying use them. There's Icon. There's a bunch of others. I know Midwest. I've seen their operation. They measure everything. I've seen a lot of other meal prep companies get called out for not meeting, and they actually didn't meet.
Or a lot of meal prep companies we've even seen, like I've ordered and weighed it out, where they'll underdo protein and overdo carbs and fat.
We should actually go measure out
it's
a Midwest. We should measure out a Midwest Meals. It'd be fun. But because I've done it and it's fine. I told you. But here's the thing: is that they if you have issues with that, be prepared. If you can't prep your food in advance, I'm not saying I want you carrying around a Tupperware. They have good meal prep companies where they do meet it. I know the one Trifecta, that's the company my buddy Rashid's with. They do things top notch. Midwest Meals. If you want to remove all doubt and it's worth the investment, you have extra money, you have expendable income. Say like one of these motherfuckers live over here in St. Charles, Illinois. We don't live in St. Charles. We live in the cheaper side, Elgin. You know what? Then buy some meal prep. Maybe that's what you need.
Yeah.
And if you're in Wisconsin, you can actually pick them up. Midwest Meals has a location there, and I know Icon, I believe, has locations in Texas. You can always look into that. You could buy those prep meals, and I think these I think it's called Fit Meals or something, and they're
Fit
in
Life?
all this. No, there's another one. I had it here, but we had them at Tiger Fitness. Chad got them from our distributor. But they're there, and there's some good. It's called Clean Eats or something. It's not clean at all, but it's decent. It's got a bunch of ingredients in it. Not that that's bad, but it's like because they're frozen. I prefer the fresh meals. That's why Midwest. I mean, we get the delivery. It's fresh, right?
Right.
But that's just me. I'm a snob. So maybe that's something for you. But at the end of the day, it comes down to adherence. Keto, I'm not a fan. I'm not against it. If you really don't like bread and you really fucking like bacon, maybe it's for you. But if you're like me, there's so many other things I could talk about keto. Microbiome in your gut. You could talk about fiber and all those things and also you're lacking nutrients from fruits. Fruits, I mean.
Lack of fibers lead to colon cancer.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to get, the checkup every day. I love that checkup. I get to have one next year. And I'm married. I'll take anything.
Backdoor entrance.
Yeah. They lube. It's fine. No, but so you have some fundamental issues with keto, and I don't believe it's a healthy plan. I don't believe it's optimal, and I believe any diet that curtails your intake of vegetables and fruits, I don't like it. It's just not a fan. And any diet where I can't eat outright bars, I'm not a fan of.
And remember that any trendy diet, they show results and they work because on some level they're generating restriction. They're restricting either a food group, which is generating a deficit, or some other fashion of that, right? So again, it's just more realistic and more sustainable if you really just say, okay, this is what I enjoy eating, this is what I want to work in, how can I do that and still generate some type of a deficit so I can get closer to my fat loss goals?
At the end of the day, also look at keto. Like, what do you snack on? You snack on carbs. You snack on potato chips and gummy bears and whatever. Like, you take away the opportunity to snack.
To go butter.
Yeah, who's gonna snack on a stick of butter? Just chomping it down. But anyway, that's our opinion. Like, comment down below. I know there's gonna be a lot of overzealous keto people in here who are gonna say we're completely wrong and fasting's the way to go and keto's life. And I'm just gonna say if you're gonna point to science, you can find studies to back up keto, just as we can find studies to back up our viewpoint. If you're gonna go anecdotal, again, go ahead, because there's more people who've gotten in great shape and won gold medals.
Look, if you can survive on keto for the rest of your life,
cheers
to you.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to follow Kate on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever else she is.
All right.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. That's not a game.